In the Old Testament of the Bible, Tom, there are what are called Messianic Prophecies. And someone like Paul would have known those prophecies, as did the Sadducees and other Pharisees. Why did they not think that Jesus was the fulfilment of those in Jesus' early days?
Yeah, we have to be a bit careful here. The Sadducees weren't terribly keen on biblical prophecy. The Sadducees simply said, let's have the Torah, the first 5 books. And now there are prophetic hints in there, but basically, if you talk to them about even Isaiah and Jeremiah, they might say, well, we read those for instruction, but really the Torah is the thing. And if you gave them Daniel, they would say, don't give us that, that's dangerous, that'll get you into trouble, because the Sadducees were the powerful people. They wanted to keep the lid on things. The Pharisees were very keen on God doing the new thing that he'd always promised. But of course, Israel's scriptures are large and complicated and full of hints and guesses and puzzles and so on. But why couldn't people see this? Well,
yes,
like the 2 on the road to Emmaus, because their heads and hearts are so full of one particular construal of how that story is going to work. Exactly the same with the disciples in Acts chapter 1. Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? And Jesus says, wrong question, guys. You will receive power when the Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses. What do they think is going to happen? They think that the prophecies are going to be fulfilled by ethnic Israel becoming top nation in the world and having all the nations of the world come in and pay them homage. Just like James and John coming to Jesus in Mark 10 and saying, we'd like to sit at your right and your left when you come in your kingdom. And Jesus says, you have no idea what you're talking about, because when he comes in his kingdom, there will be somebody at his right and his left, but they're the thieves on the cross beside him. And so all that irony is there. So in a sense, what you've got is a nationalist, or even a violent image of God coming to smash those wicked Gentiles and install his faithful people as the true people of God for the world. And instead, God takes that whole story, and the smashing and the destruction happens to God himself in the person of his Son. And that's something which, as I've studied, I've got on the shelf beside me here lots of books about how the Judean world of the time thought and prayed and organized itself. And the idea that God would come in person and take all the horror and the shame and suffering of the world onto himself, that's not there. That's not there. Even though, with hindsight, we can see the hints and the guesses in the Psalms and in Isaiah and so on, and Zechariah.